well, here we are, Keith, the last day here in the spring Pimlico meet of 2023. My condolences. I'm sorry. We're going to head back to Laurel after this, but it's been a fun time, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been busy. You know,
Yes.
we
Yes.
pack a lot into this short little meet here at Pimlico, but it's been good. It's been profitable. We like that. That's always a good thing. And yeah, we've got to move down to Laurel next week.
We
So
do.
yeah, it's tough. I live close there. This is the kind of track I cut my teeth on. So yeah, I've got a lot of good memories here. And yeah, but we'll get back to Laurel and see what we can do.
Yeah, I love this set. This is one of my favorite sets here throughout the year as well. But let's go ahead and take a look and see what's outside of this set. Looking pretty good there, post Preakness action.
It's just like wake up every day. We're looking out here. It's sunny. It's warm. It's beautiful, fast and firm. And yeah, it looks like the weather's going to continue into next week just like this. So we've been blessed with the weather, no doubt about it. But we've got some mandatory payouts here on the last day of this meet at Old Hilltop. So we're going to talk about those a little bit and challenging a little jackpot super high five in race 6 today as well.
Of course, those payouts are in that Rainbow Pick 6. That big pool hit yesterday. So we do start over today with that. Of course, the late pick 5 usually hits as well, starts in race 4. And hey, take a look. Of course, that 490,000 at jackpot super high 5. The early pick 5 pool is now at $3,000 and climbing, starting in about an hour. And it does kick off in this maiden claiming 12.5, going a mile and 16th on the dirt for the 3, 4, and 5-year-olds. Keith, let's go ahead and take a look. You've got a nice special stat on the number 5. Ask Kim Oki for Mary Epler. Or Claudio Gonzalez, excuse me, start for Claudio Gonzalez here today.
Mary have a horse named Oki?
She had a horse similar.
Okay.
So that's where my mind got the trip up.
All
Excuse me.
Yeah, real quick, to touch upon that pick 6 yesterday. I was shocked that you know, even when I looked up and somebody said there's three horses that'll take it down. I was still surprised in a great effort by the Cal Lynch firster who you had on top. So kudos to you, great pick. Let's get to the first here. Ask him, Oki. I'm gonna take a little shot here. A horse off of a negative claim. Throw that stat up one more time, guys. That'd be great. And Claudio Gonzalez claimed off a negative drop. Yeah, I'm worried about that. But the last 3 years on the dirt, he's 4 for 8, 6 for 8 with these maiden claimers going long. Let's kind of move. So 208 did have a little excuse last time out, April 29th at Laurel on that muddy sealed surface. In a little bit tight at the break. You didn't. If you had to go back and read a long footnote, you would have caught that. We didn't have it in the short one, but caught wide from there. I thought the race prior was really good with adversity. So you've got a little speed in here, step ahead. They're going to take the blinkers back off, maybe settle that one down. Was on the worst part of the racetrack last time out. And I and the Mike, these two, I think they're going to be the targets for Eskimoki. Let's see if he can draft up and make a move.
And let's see that. Keith Fusel goes 5-4-2-6 in that opener of the early pick 5. Race number 2 is the opener of the early pick 4. Keith Fusel, you, as per usual, got to take it. You don't start off with a single, but you do have one in there.
Yeah, my apologies yesterday. I threw a $10 ticket up. I hope the bettors were, you know, in that last leg I'd single. The horse was 0 for 19. The next pick, the Mencia horse, was an obvious horse to throw in there. Would have made the ticket 20. Paid 200. I couldn't believe it. Over 200. So hopefully you followed suit and, you know, took our little structure there and added to it. And that's kind of what we ask you to. If you can afford it, go right ahead. So this is kind of keeping it reasonable. Race 2, get you started. 4, 5, and 8. Race 3, we've got a single. Takeo is going to be a single, I think, for a lot of people. Shorter field now, down to 5. Has the experience edge here for Rudy Sanchez Salaman. Race 4, 1, 2, and 5. Scratch the 4, can't pass it up. And the 6, try, whatever, Tyrannosaurus. There you go, out today. Race 5, 1, 2, 5, and 7 for an $18 early pick 4 ticket.
And again, that's a lovely structure that Keith Fusel always sets up. And I have the same approach on it. When I give you these tickets for my Rainbow Pick 6, I give you the structure. Take your opinions however way you want them to. But race number 2 is a claiming 25 for the girls 3 years old and up, which have never won. 3 going 5 furlongs on the turf here. Scratching the number 10, Takey Lady, and you have the number 5 on top. And Better Call Mama. Let's go ahead and take a look at that effort from last fall here back at Pimlico at a rough start.
Yeah, 1 start at Pimlico, a 1 win over this turf course, and you see it there. Hopped, start, a little bit off, a little bit slow there, almost a length or 2, but it was able to kind of regroup, took the rating, and I tell you what, got a little help up front, a little battle. It's going to come out here about 6 7 wide almost as they come past the 8th ball. Really levels off nicely to get up and beat what I think is a little bit more of established field, Callie, than what she's going to face today. Had that tight narrow press style last time out. Back to the turf, back on a course. She's 1 for 1. See if she can go 2 for 2. I think with a better break, she's somewhere just off the pace, maybe a length or 2 off of it mid-turn and trying to make that move into it from there.
Correct. She got jacked in the face early on with what you saw in that, video, frog in my throat. But then, as you noticed, I agree with you, stellar, solid one that she came out of that win on. You also have the number 8 underneath, the way to return for Damon Deal-DeVico. William Humphrey gets the call on this one. Damon Deal-DeVico, 11 for 44, first after the layoff.
Yeah, you like that. He's got a really good ROI. Old Line Racing, Kevin O'Keefe and company going to bring back a way to return. She flashed some talent on the turf and the main track. Off the break now, this is going to be first time blinkers on the turf. She brings speed to the table. The only try for Damon was on that turf course a little bit later in the year. Labeled good, but sometimes that turf course gets real tricky for horses later in the season. So I think the freshening is going to do her good. I think she's part of the pace flow here from the outside.
I agree with you on that standpoint. She's going to absolutely love this track here over the turf here over at Pimlico. You also go with the number 4 underneath. I'm not one to complain. Mark Salvaggio shipping in for this effort with Julio Hernandez as well.
Second off of a break is big for this barn, and turf sprints good for this barn as well. I like the trip it got last time. I was able to take the rating, work through a little bit of a seam mid-stretch, and kept on very gamely to the wire. I think she'll benefit from that race. She likes a little bit of a target. I think she'll get in here. A couple of these horses are going to send away, and they go Shaughnessy inside. She'll make waves, even a way to return we talked about. Part of that pace flow. I don't think Better Call Mom is going to be too far back, but I think she's a user in here to make that run off of it with Julio Hernandez.
Race number 3 is a maiden claiming as Keith Fustel wraps up in race number 2. In this race number 3, 4.5 on the dirt, which does kick off the Rainbow Pick 6. Of course, that big ticket hit yesterday. So I have a little looking like a pyramid sequence here. Single in here in Tocayo in race number 3. Race number 4, 1-2, Irwan and Northern Thunder. Race number 5, I go 3 deep with Velvet Galatians being my top selection there, the number 7. And race number 6, I do go 4 wide. I do go 5, 6, 7, and 8. And of course, 3, 4, 6, and a nice. I almost singled in on the 3, but then I had to make. We'll get to that race. I made some last-minute switch arounds, so I do go double in the 3 and the 6 there. Invective and the Phil Schoenthal runner coming a bit off the layoff. A $28.80 ticket that does kick things off here in race number 3. Maiden claiming 45, going 4.5 on the dirt for the straight 3-year-olds. Scratching the number 5, Louis Albertano. You and I both have Tocayo on top. Rudy Sanchez, Solomon, Javian Toledo, of course, coming off of that 4.5 effort over at Laurel Park, and now gets over to Pimlico.
Not the strongest meet thus far for Rudy. Hopefully get back and get a win here today with Tocayo. And Tocayo ran well. We have a video. Do we have a video of that one?
Do.
Yeah, last time out in debut at Laurel, May the 7th. A little bit of a just unprepared at the break. Just wasn't completely tied on at the start, but rushes up, shows a good early burst of speed to join the heavy favorite. Is going to press every step of the way. Lays in and tries to, maybe a little bit green through the last 3/16, eighth of a mile, but the way he continued on was pretty good. You've got a horse, down the road, breeding bottom side Spooky Tooth. You looked at the family California Coast. Yeah,
that was great.
Went a little bit longer, but you know what? Staying around, showing some fight to the wire after that slow start. A good break today. We've got the experience. These other ones better be tied on if he breaks, because he's going to be, I think, going clear quite early. The rest of them, looking from a breeding standpoint, trying to find something really good. I couldn't find any great nuggets on any of them. Hence, Trumbetta, you got a horse by Looking at Lucky out of a Go Sapper mare. Lone Sib took a couple races to win, did it with a 55, solving progress a little bit longer. I go 3, 2, 1, and 4.
And I do the same thing there in race number 3 in that baby race, going 4.5 on the dirt here at Old Hilltop. Race number 4 is a claiming 5,000, going 1 mile and 16th on the dirt for the 3-year-olds and up. Scratch in the 4, can't pass it up. Scratch in the 6, Tyrannosaurus. And then you also have the number 2 on top. top here. Northern Thunder, Hugh McMahon, rips the blinkers off this time. Just ran short on the quick turnaround back on the 29th over at Pimlico.
That's the kicker. You know, really made something. They weren't happy. Caught wide last time every step of the way. Used to have a little bit more speed. The last couple been kind of dull early. Maybe the blinkers, you see everything around. Maybe he'll just go ahead and get within the flow. I like the fact that he kind of takes the drop into the condition race now. They got a little softer bunch. Jockey-trainer combo has been deadly. It's been really, really good. And I think that's a little bit of a key for me as well. And Hugh McMahon, I went further back, deeper in the stats over the last several years. He's okay with running these horses, you know, back on this kind of short rest. So needs to be put in the race. There's not a lot of speed. My top pick was Bahama Channel, so I'm going to key around those two. Arrow looks kind of obvious. Looks like the horse that you maybe can trust the most. But Bahama Channel, Field's just gotten away from him a little bit sprinting. I think he needs to go back out to a route. He's going to get that opportunity today with a rider that's going to put him into the race. I think he carries the speed a long way in here.
I like that take on Bahama Channel as well. So Keith Fusel goes 2-5-1-7 there in race number 4, and we'll be right back after this commercial break for the rest of our last day here in the spring at Pimlico meet.
And they're off.
And we're back to the business here in the starter allowance, going 1 mile and 16th on the dirt for the 3-year-olds and up. Scratching the number 4 back at you. Scratching the number 6 Nash Vegas. For me, two big scratches in this race. You land on the rail horse Albertano. Kieran McGee. Axel Concepcion gets the call. Comes back from that Laurel starter allowance effort as well. Pretty even effort.
Yep. A little flat there. Expected a little bit more. It was a competitive group, a big field of 10. Comes into a shorter field here today. Flow is going to be interesting. Closer look, I guess, freshened up. It's probably going to try to go ahead and go. It's got some back figs that are dangerous. Kind of gave way a little bit quicker last time. So, you know, I worry a little bit. This horse can kind of go out there quite a ways. But Velvet Ghost, I think, is going to get first run. We've got the, you know, the reunion tour here. Albertano and Velvet Ghost, they just go back and forth, back and forth. But Albertano, the freshening, I think that's key. You see this 31 to 60 days, Kieran. 30% with an ROI of 246 works. Getting a little weight edge here. I'm not a huge proponent of that, but I'm going to take into consideration here with Axel Concepcion shorter field. Just save ground. Just save ground, settle. I don't want the overland trip here. Save ground about the 3/8 and work your trip out from there to come running. Velvet Ghost, I think, is going to be a tough cookie making that first run into the speed. This course has done great guns here for Corrales.
Sure, and it was entered at Pimlico back on the 18th of May. Was a steward scratch that day. Then ran on the 20th over at Charlestown and returns back to Old Hilltop. Of course, and I have Galatians on top. I go ahead and take a stab with Epler. I liked what I saw, running right out of the stall, dropping from that starter optional, finds of course a nice field here, and is the type that is able to hand a potentially wide trip if it does come to that. I don't necessarily think it'll come to that, but I think it won't totally hurt Galatians.
I agree with you, and I think that there may lie the value in this race. You know, on the home track, run a couple good numbers. And last time I seemed like a decent horse. 1 mile and 1/8, shorten up a little bit, should have a little bit more punch. Would not be a surprise. Albertano's got to bounce back up off of that dollar effort last time out. I'm hoping the break does him some good. Shoot the Messenger, I mean, we'll talk about him real quick as well. I was surprised to see him up with the pace last time. I thought he was going to be a user from back of the pack. He was 3 deep, pressing, and stayed quite well. One of his better races puts him in the mix. Nobody can have a hiccup here. It's anybody's ball game in race 5. But I'm going to hope that Albertano, I'm going to stay with him as my top pick.
Let's see if he resurges back out of the stall for Kieran McGee here at Old Hilltop. Race number 6, of course, is that jackpot super high 5 in that pool of $490,727. Can't wait to see what that's going to get to when we get to race number 6. It is in this maiden special weight, going 5 furlongs on the turf for the girls, 3, 4, and 5 years old. Excuse me. Late scratch in the number 10 Circle Home. Keith, you have the number 7 on top. Little Josie Wales, a first-time starter for Milan Milosevic. Forrest Boyce gets the call. You have to immediately, that's I originally had this one in my exacta. Then I went for the 10. Then I came back with the 7 with the scratch of the 10. But immediately the works were the thing that caught my eye.
Works are good. Absolutely right here with the dirt. We're going to go turf, but there's turf there definitely in the family. Great notions. We know they can handle any surface. The mare, one debut with a 67 sprinting over the grass. Kin to a horse that was 11 for 18 in the money on the turf. Milan Milosevic, this horse has been knocking on the door here at this meet. I think it might get knocked down here. Little Josie Wales to pull a little bit of an upset. Tab the Toad. I think this horse will open with some play. Inner Cups looks like maybe the horse to beat. The 5-year-old mare returns off of a break. Hasn't been seen since late October, where she encountered some trouble. We're going to show you that race last time out. That was at Laurel Park late in the year. Misty's last got it done, but Inner Cups has positional speed. She's going to work here. She showed good speed over this turf course last September. This event here starts ramping things up about 3 and 4 wide, makes it good, steady progress, and then things get a little bit tricky.
Doggy.
Yeah, coming here to, past the 316s, heading to the 8th pole. She looks like she's got momentum. Horse starts drifting out, and she lays in at the same time. So, she was kind of getting in just a touch, and the other horse getting out. A check, but then darts down towards the inside late, continues with effort. Off the break, proven speed, a pace factor throughout in today's 6th.
There we have it.
Yeah.
I appreciate that was a bit dramatic in that the course coming out was a little bit more dramatic, but regardless, you said coming back off of that mentally, I like that switch up there as well. You have the other first-time starter in your try, Golden Charm, Linda Albert, John Brasino, another one that comes in with a couple of decent works leading up into this.
Full Brother was solid, 84 on the dirt. Blofeld, 21% with the first-time starters. Lots of positives there. Could be a talented filly. It's going to be the dirt. I mean, the turf is the main question for me. But you look at the stats for Linda Albert, she kind of has a good gauge of turf horses. Look at the percentages. I think you have to take that in consideration as a user. A couple other horses to talk about. Could be a little bit of a price. T-Rose, by Great Notion, is a full to 10X. Who ran big over the turf at Laurel. Got it done, right? And I think it was a 3 in life for like 25. Cut from class, Steve Kyle, the 6 horse. You've got in the mix. I like that. My man Joe Gass was talking about that one today. By Blame. Blame's handle the turf, no problem. There's some family on the bottom side, a little tightener at Charlestown where it took a lot of play. So interesting here for this jackpot super high 5. You may have to spread around a little bit. Interested to see what this final pool is going to end up as well.
It's going to be a good race. This is a good race for the jackpot super high 5 there in race number 6 as Keith Fusel goes 7, 5, 8, 9 there in that race. Race number 7 is an allowance optional claiming 40, going 6 furlongs on the dirt. For the girls, 3 years old and up, you and I both have Tweet Away Robin. Let's go ahead and take a look at that effort back at Laurel in early April back and when in that last win.
Yeah, and keying up against a filly that was really running some good races right in a row here for Brittany Russell and Haley B. Speed was pretty good this particular afternoon on the 6th of April at Laurel, but I like the way Tweet Away Robin, kind of saw that speed get away, worked outward, and just really comes back chugging to get up. A determined effort for a barn that's rolling right along here at this Pimlico meet. Hugh McMahon on a little bit of a hot streak right now. I think she gets put into the race early and stays the trip.
I agree. I agree with everything with that, which is why I have her on top as well. Let's talk about, though, some underneath because this is an interesting setup. It's going to be, I feel like it's going to be a little bit of a bigger fight than what we predict, like with Combat Queen Mike Trombetta. Johan Rosado was entered on the Black-Eyed Susan Day, as an MTO, was a scratch, but a decent effort, consistent effort since returning back to 2023.
Yeah, it was going to be a little bit of a reach over Black-Eyed Susan Day. Yeah, but I tell you, coming back to the right field, there's the other Trombetta Golden Effect. She's a little bit fresh. Good work coming into this. She could get that stalk and pounce kind of trip along with I'm Getting There. Though she carry you thinking from the rail might be a little bit of a reach, but her form's very good. Solid time. Kind of rode the wave last time, but this is the time to try to go and attack for this condition. Canoodle might be the fastest overall when you really kind of go back on her form. The layoff is definitely a concern when you look at the stats of the trainer. But, man, when she fires her best shot, she'll beat this group when you go back on it. So she's going to need a little bit of a setup. It looks like she likes to make that run from the back of the pack. But in a race here with the pick 6 and the mandatory, You could talk me into just hitting an all button if I can squeeze around and find some single around there, because I can find a reasoning basically for every horse in this race. But Tweedaway Robin and the way this barn's been going is going to get the edge from me.
Well, speaking of talking into every horse, just delve into Dulce Quiera a little bit. Charles DeMario. DeMario Caramano's coming off of the rail. Same type of setup, but obviously taking that big jump up today.
I mean, Spicy Margarita, you go back on this page, and you're okay, she's a starter filly or a starter mare. Well, so is Tweedaway Robin back on the page. The form is there right now. 2 for 3 at Pimlico with a second. Not completely out of it. Sweet Grace, I see some of her batteries maybe with a little moisture in the track. We don't have that today. I know her top numbers on the fast track. She's another one, might need a little bit of help up front.
This guy, Keith Fiusawa, is going to look for some value for you guys here today, and he finds it in race number 7. Let's get to our last race of the meet here. Race number 8, this claiming 40,000, which have never won 3 a mile and 16th on the turf. Scratch in the 1, Pudge Boy Palace. Scratch in the number 2, Jillian. Gillian? Gillian. There's, excuse me. Not Jillian Tulloch, Gilligan. But you land on the number 4, Shalonian. This is your value play of the day. Jamie Ness, Carlos Lopez, trying turf for the first time with this one.
Not usually a move I like when you got a horse in form. You're doing well on the dirt. Why are you going to go to the turf? But looking, again, as for something that might be a little bit of a price, Shalonian, in a race kind of devoid of any real pace. When you're breaking it down, you got a fresh horse from Wish Me Home. Trash Talking Larry can lay a little bit closer, but I look back. Gun Runner, smaller samples, like 8% right now, but I'm willing to give a pass on that. Bottom side, stakes winner there. That mare, stakes winner on the turf, second in a stake at Del Mar with an 84. And that mare was able to kind of carry speed a little bit longer. So looking at it, maybe Chelonian gets to the front and gets brave. Just needs to improve a little bit numbers-wise on the surface switch. But the horses I guess you can trust maybe are the 3, the 6, and the 8. Not a lot splitting them. Invective. Did we have a video on Invective?
We do. We have a video back from Gulfstream on the 19th of March. Excuse me.
Yeah, a good try back in February. Was able to overcome the 11 posts in a field of 12 to get it done. A little bit of a race to that next condition. Worked an inside-out trip. Was leveling off to its best stride, and then this happens. Boom, right there, a little check and a steady, and just has to kind of pack it in a little bit late. Not good enough. But looking at the field, Grape Nuts Warrior, that winner came back to run a 78, second place finisher 82. That tells me that works. That kind of competition works for me here. I think Invective is a user for Sibeli. Wish Me Home, probably the horse to beat. I made 8-5 on the morning line. You got consistently faster figs on the turf off the break here for Schoenthal.
Right, and that's what initially I had the number 3 on top just because of what I liked what I saw at Gulfstream. So building off of that, but as you said, first off the layoff, and on top of that, Victor Carrasco, he's just been riding. He has his numbers there aren't a lot of wins there, but he's been riding so well. So many very close finishes here on the turf here over at Pimlico, especially on Phil's horses. So this is a combination that it just sets up very, very well for this to ignite here for the last race here at Pimlico, as Keith Fusel goes 4-3-6-8, and we're going to head over to Lightning Round to wrap things up here for the last day of the Pimlico meet. Starting with Keith, your best bet of the day, race number 7, Tweedaway Robin for Hugh McMahon.
Yeah, just the barn, just rocking and rolling right now. I think she has a speed to get there. A lot of tenacity last time out, running down a kind of a key horse in Haley B, who returned her win and run a good number. So I'll take that one, Tweedaway Robin. Not a huge price that we're going to get. Value play, the 8th race, we just talked about it. Cheloni, it's going to be the key factor whether this one takes to the turf. Bottom side says yes, it should. Goes to the front. Let's see how far he can go.
And there we have it. Let's just recalibrate and retouch on what's happening as far as in your pockets for today. Let's talk about those mandatory. Of course, the highlight is that jackpot super high 5, 490,727 as of my personal update right now, and I will update you as the day goes along. But Keith, that's a great race in race number 6 that kind of gets ties everything. It kind of ties this whole meet up in a bow. We've had some great races here for this jackpot super high 5.
You do. It's a challenging bet. There's no doubt. Obviously, some of these people might want to try to key a horse on top and 5 or 6 underneath or 7 like that to get it going. But you've got lots of question marks. You've got a proven horse in the Man Show horse off the break. The morning line favorite, who should show some speed, but then you've got a couple firsters, Linda Albert, Milan Milosevic we talked about, and then a couple horses transitioning to the turf for the first time, including the Stephen Kyle horse. So lots of ways to go. The key is, handicapping is one thing. Putting together the ticket
is
that's the other challenge.
Yes, it is. And I have mad respect for all those who attend with enthusiasm with that. So best of luck to everybody there. But Keith, as we mentioned, this is the last day of the meet. Do you have any particular highlights of the meet? I know Preakness is always the big kicker, but anything during Preakness or outside of it that really was memorable this year?
Cashed a couple tickets. We had a couple guys put some things together. That's the key for me, getting through the morning lines for Black Eyed Susan Day. and Preakness said there's 14 race cards, here till 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night. So, burning that midnight oil.
Yes.
That is a challenge in getting through the charts those days. And, that's always, that's something that we take pride in doing a good job. It's a pressure situation for Bill and I upstairs, but we seem to get it done, and Bill does a great job. So that's it. But I like betting here. I mean, this is a track that I grew up on. I kind of know the nooks and crannies of it and the way it goes, and it's a little simplified. Not as many distance challenges. We're talking about it. Laurel, you've got the 1-turn mile, the 5.5. So I like that consistency.
Sure.
I think gamblers like that as well. And I think you see it by her handler. Handler's been pretty good.
Okay, there we have it. And as we are going to wrap things up, I just wanted to highlight that we will be back at Laurel Park next week. Of course, that summer meet is opening on Friday, June 9th. Keith, you and I will be here to kind of open things back up. Not here, but at Laurel Park to open things back up. And, of course, our summer meet will be continuing on up until June 30th, up until any updates happen. And we are going to leave it, speaking of updates, for Dave Rodman for some more changes and scratches here for the last day of Pimlico meet. Thank you so much for joining us today.
All right, good luck, everybody.